Hey guys, welcome back to another video on the Inside Spurs channel. Happy Friday. Ooh, let's go with early afternoon, early evening / late afternoon. Hope that it's been a good one. Hope work's been good. Hope, whatever it is that you've been up to today, it's been a nice one with no stress. And if you're down to the pub, enjoy the pub. Have a beer for me as well. And if you're going to the gym, you train legs. I'm watching you. You know I'm watching you. Let's talk this video anyway. We're talking about Pierre-Emile Højbjerg and kind of the first domino to fall when it comes to Pierre-Emile Højbjerg potentially leaving in January. So we'll talk a little bit about Pierre-Emile Højbjerg and his interest maybe in leaving, as well as kind of where Spurs stand on that, as well as David Ornstein talking about the Spurs chance when he talked about it through, I believe it was his Q&A. So we're going to talk a little bit about that as well. So plenty to get into, plenty to talk about. Just want to say, if you're new, please subscribe. You're very much welcome to join us for the journey. There you go. And I'm going to jump in. I'm going to start with the article on Pierre-Emile Højbjerg, and it came from the Sport Witness. And they said, Pierre-Emile Højbjerg, player has, quote, desire to leave Tottenham in January. Now seen as a bargain, but they may worry Postecoglou may veto the transfer. So I'm going to go bit by bit. There's 3 bits here. So let's start with his desire to leave. I can't actually blame him. We as Spurs fans will look at Pierre-Emile Højbjerg's situation and go, but he's going to play loads in January. Okay. But when Mali and Senegal obviously finish up with their tournament, wherever it is they finish, it's the groups, is it the final, anywhere in between, they're going to come back and they're going to come straight back into the starting team. We've seen this team play better when we've got Bissouma and Sarr in it, as well as then an attacking option. I think that's fair to say. I know that a lot of Spurs fans have this weird thing with Bissouma where they don't actually like him because he's had a bad game every now and then, and they really love Højbjerg. I'm going to really kind of nuke your whole interest in this because Ange wants to play really attacking football. Ange likes Bissouma because he can take the ball off the back 4. He can beat a player. He can also pick a pass. Pierre-Emile Højbjerg can't really take the ball off the back 4. He can't beat a player and he can't really pick a pass. There you go. That's that. And we've already seen Sarr is levels above Højbjerg in the number 8 role. So we can kind of see why, right? Now seen as a bargain, I think you'll find that he's had a few games recently he's been good, right? And all these things are going to play a massive part when it comes to obviously Spurs looking to cash in on him, which I think will still be the summer. That's my key thing I'm going to take on this. I still think he gets sold in the summer. I don't see January being the thing because I'm going to come on to the third point in a second that will back my point. But he's looking, obviously, got 18 months left on his contract. He's been in some decent form. He has been playing recently, a lot more than he did at the start of the season. When Spurs want sort of £25 million, maybe you might be able to get him a few quid cheaper, knowing Spurs might want to cash in and then replace him. When we look at the third option, obviously worry that Postecoglou may veto a transfer. It's purely because, well, if he goes, we're left with Kulusevski that can play the attacking role, Lo Celso that can play the attacking role, and Skip. And you're not going to play Lo Celso, Kulusevski and Skip as a midfield. It's not going to happen. So on that, you can see why they want to keep Højbjerg. Now, let's play the game that Højbjerg does actually eventually get sold. Okay, well, if Højbjerg gets sold, you cash in, you're going to want £25 million because at the end of the day, January you always charge more than you do in the summer because you don't truly want to lose a player that you might end up using. In Højbjerg's situation, definitely for January, we're going to need him. We might need him a little bit in the February, depending on how African Cup of Nations go. But we're going to need him, really, right? So it's difficult to sell a guy that you know you're going to need. It's the same with the situation with Lo Celso when Barcelona want him. Now, I think Lo Celso is probably going to get more minutes than Højbjerg will because obviously in the attacking position, we are a little bit more limited. Whereas Bissouma, Sarr, Skip, Bentancur, Højbjerg, we're a little bit more blessed in those areas. Especially if you're going to end up having Maddison coming back with Lo Celso and Kulusevski still being the right winger / Johnson or Solomon or Brian Hill or whatever. But yeah, very interesting that I think that was the first kind of sign that we're going to look to have a Højbjerg, not put a transfer request in, but kind of say, I would like to leave. I want to play more regularly. And I know in January I'll play a lot, but we don't know what the future holds from February onwards. And I don't hate the idea of moving him on as long as there's a serious plan in place that we can activate straight away before he even leaves. I doubt that we would have that in place and doubt we'd have a guy in place that can play straight away. I could be proven wrong. I could be an absolute fool and Spurs might have the guy that's exactly similar to Bissouma in a way that can do that, or a Bentancur who can actually play out from the back. but I doubt it. And I think that's why they'll go Højbjerg. Now, if you value Højbjerg as a number 8, which I think they value him as more of a 6 than an 8, and I think they value Skip as an 8 more than a 6, which ironically I might have the other way around, but Skip can pass a ball forward with some intent. If you value him as an 8, then yeah, you can replace an 8 fairly quickly, in my opinion. Conor Gallagher could play that role if we necessarily needed him to. And that's the way they may look at it. They may say, look, if we cash in on him, we're going for Gallagher because we think we can get him away from Chelsea. But I don't know. Let's talk David Ornstein and his plans for our January transfer window. So he was asked on the January transfer plans, he said centre-back is the priority and potentially then an attacker. You'll see reports of Jota. I have no fresh update on him, but it shows Tottenham are considering multiple options. On the centre-back, I don't actually think it requires someone like Dyer to leave, which he did previously think. But let's see what the club's new recruitment team look like in conjunction with Postecoglou, Scott Munn, obviously, and Daniel Levy managed to do. So obviously you're talking about Johan Lang, Rob McKenzie, and the new guys that are coming in, right? So a lot of them only came in about a month ago. So they've not had a ton of time. There's still a good amount of time, but they've not had 3 or 4 months to plan for the January transfer window. They're probably going to have about 6 to 8 weeks, which you can still get a lot done. I still think, yes, we get an attacker. I still think we get a centre-back, and I think the attacker will be Illing Jr. I don't see it being Jota. Those reports seem to have just absolutely died completely, by the way. There's nothing for Jota about any team, which I do then think a lot of that was agent talk trying to get him out of Saudi Arabia. But I think Saudi Arabia, what they'll do, obviously he's at Al Ittihad. I've got a feeling they might just move him to another team. They're all owned by the same company. We'll call it the company, but you know what I mean, the state. So they can easily just swap him over to another team. It's not going to affect anything. So I think that's what they might do. So that's why I think they go Illing Jr. Now, for centre-back, there's a few ways they could do this. And I'm going to brainstorm them, and you can tell me that I'm foolish. You can tell me that I'm a genius. You can tell me I'm something in the middle. You can tell me that I'm ugly, and that's fine as well, as long as you've been going to the gym. On the situation, I think Ben Godfrey will be a very easy option. You get him on loan for 6 months, maybe, with an option to buy for something cheap if you do want him. You could go the Sebastian Caceres route from Club Football America. You could tempt the Lloyd Kelly situation. No, he's on a pre-contract. Could you get him earlier in January? Or could you go the route where you're going to get a mixture? Because I don't see him getting a Mark Guay. I don't see him getting a Jean-Claire Todibo. As much as I would want either of them, and I do want either of them, I think they go maybe and get a Godfrey and another. Because I think you can get Godfrey fairly cheap. And I think you can then say to Dyer, mate, get yourself some football. You're not really going to play here. You've been a servant for a long time. Go and find yourself a club. Go and get somewhere that you're going to play. Because Godfrey, even if he sits on the bench, he's going to play a hell of a lot more at Spurs than he would at Everton, which is weird for me to say. But if you move a Dyer, you bring in a Godfrey as like the replacement, you get one more, and okay, it's not ideal right this second. If it is a Lloyd Kelly, for example, it's not ideal, but at least you have a backup. At least you have options. Davies has been good, but he's also a left back. You know, there's a shelf life to these sort of things. So having Godfrey and maybe one other, I think would probably be the best outcome for us, because I don't see us getting 2 centre-halves this window. You might get one that you truly want, and then Godfrey might be the filler where he plays a little bit here and there. You know, he can also play a little bit of right back, so if you do get, you know, an injury to a right back, you can kind of go, well, Godfrey, you're filling in as a backup right back. So if something happens to, you know, Porro or Emerson, you can also be there to help out, you know? Which I think would be a smart move. It would be a cheap move as well. Midfielder, I think Gallagher might be at the top of the list, but also then he's not exactly a cheap player like a Godfrey would be. We're talking 40 to 50 million, somewhere in there. That would require you to move a player on. And that's why I think if you move a Højbjerg, you go and get a Gallagher. Helps with your homegrown. He's a good player. He's been playing really well for Chelsea. As much as Chelsea's form has been a bit rollercoaster-esque, he's actually been one of the constants and he's played well. So I think if you did that, Illing Jr., say you get a Gallagher, say you get Illing Jr., say you get a Godfrey and like a Lloyd Kelly, for example, right? I think you can get an Illing Jr. for 15. I think you can get a Godfrey for, let's say, 20, because I'm trying to overdo it a little bit so you can kind of have a bit more of an idea. I think you can get a Gallagher for 45. I think you sell a Højbjerg for 25. So 25 or 45 is 20. 20 million for Kelly, 15 for Illing Jr. You're not spending 55 million this window. So I think the Illing Jr. will be a loan with a buy option that happens actually in the summer. That's what I think. So actually, you're going to end up spending 40, which I can see Spurs spending 40 this window. It's not outrageous to think, because obviously that includes the 25 million. So you're actually spending 65, but you're getting a 25 million deduction off of Højbjerg. Maybe you move Lloris and a Dyer on, so you save on the wages. I think that's potentially a little bit more realistic. But anyway, guys, that's the end of the video. Hope you enjoyed. Drop a like on the video if you did. Hit me in the comment section below your thoughts and feelings, obviously, on that answer from David Ornstein about the January transfer window. But not only that, but the Pierre Højbjerg potential desire to leave Spurs. I want to know your thoughts and feelings on both of those. Subscribe to the channel if you're new and hit the bell notification for more. But anyway, guys, that's the end of the video. And I'll see you all very, very soon. Take care, guys.